Hey there, Dudley High School and Pantherland. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know when you're watching this. That's the funny thing about making videos like this. My name is Daniel Miller, and I am your new curriculum facilitator here at Dudley High School. It means I'm also your testing coordinator and also your AP coordinator. And I am here in 236D kind of slash E. So upper floor, back of the building, in what I am calling the Teaching and Learning Center, everybody. And I was hoping to welcome you to this space, welcome you to me, welcome you to this role if you don't know about it already, and welcome you to what I call Coaching on Demand, which is a series of videos that I'll be putting into our weekly message just to kind of provide some tips, some tricks, some insights, some advice, some conversations. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a one-stop shop. And you can see down below, if you're looking at this on the slide, I've got some resources that maybe you'll find useful for the first week of school. I'll talk about those in about a minute or two. So first, everybody, a little bit about me. My name, like I said, everybody, is Daniel Miller, Mr. Miller, I suppose. And I have been in public school for 19 years, which is kind of crazy to think about with the way that the time works sometimes. I started off teaching in Durham, North Carolina after I received my master's from Duke. And I love teaching in Durham. I loved Jordan High School. I was there for 13 years. When the pandemic happened, my partner and I, we moved to the DC area. I worked at Fairfax High School for 5 years. I started becoming an instructional coach up there. And now I'm so happy to join all of you here at the great and historic James B. Dudley High School to embrace this role, embrace the idea of growth, change, innovation, and really embrace the idea that I really think of everyone in this role. My job is to really help you make your job a little bit more efficient, a little bit easier, to make the difficult work go a little bit smoother. So hopefully you'll find me a great resource, a thought partner, a conversation partner. I'm here to help with PLC groups, departments, testing, data, really a lot of different things, everyone. I try to really build a relationship with you, get to know you and your needs, and really try to create some plans to work with you around those needs and those ideas. So I'm really excited to work with all of you this year, and I've appreciated the fact that I've already started to get to know some of you already in this first week of school. In the TLC, everyone, it's a lot of tables. It's a big space. I'm hoping that we'll be able to use this not just for us as professionals to learn and grow and collaborate, but please let me know, everyone, if you would be interested in using a space like this with your classes. I think having a space for students to talk and problem solve and collaborate and work on big tables and do presentations and things of that nature can be really empowering to really elevate student voice and elevate student choice sometimes. So if you're interested in using this space, taking a look at it, please come up and take a look. The door is generally open. Let's talk about how we can use this space together to collaborate, to learn and grow and do all of that together. At the bottom, everyone, I wanted to kind of also get into a little bit of some first week of school tips, tricks, suggestions. I've got some links down at the bottom, everyone, to some really great resources. One of my favorite books is linked down below. I've got a copy here in the TLC as well. But for the first week, everybody, one of my biggest focuses is really I don't focus on content. You know, as a teacher, everyone, I was an English teacher. I taught all levels of English, English 9, English 10, 11, 12, AP, ESOL English as well. I also taught world language. I was a Russian teacher for a while, which was a really cool little like side business that I had going on. And I would always focus on, in the first week of school, really focusing on teaching the kids how we do learning in my room. I've appreciated, as I've been interacting and going to meetings this week in this first week here at Dudley, I've embraced the focus on norms. Like, all the groups are kind of having conversations around that. And that's something that I used to do in my classroom as well in the first week of school. Having conversations around norms, kind of introducing the students to me. This is how I work. These are my working norms. What are yours? Can we kind of collaborate together to find a system that's going to work for all of us to learn in this space together? So do that, have those conversations, get to know them through that frame of mind. Another great suggestion around getting to know students and names, because names are difficult for a lot of us, having the students get to know each other around different icebreaker activities, getting them to introduce each other, kind of like what we did on that first day with Dr. Goss in the Media Center, finding people who had similar and different interests that maybe we wouldn't have normally connected with. I like to then have the students maybe present about their new classmates that they've met, right? This is so-and-so, they like to do this, that was a point of I'm so-and-so, you know, that's a really powerful thing to get them using each other's names and, you know, elevating that voice as well. The other thing, everyone, is to think about behaviors. You know, I like to think more about rewarding what I like as opposed to punishing what I don't like. I like to really build a positive tone and a positive space, even when it comes into behavior and classroom management. And so in the first week, everybody think about how you want to reinforce and reward positive behaviors. If you're the teacher who has everyone put their cell phone in the cell phone caddy, right? Perhaps you want to be rewarding and reinforcing that behavior as people are coming in, you know, greeting them and being really positive with that reminder, you know, in that tone. We want to really think about our tone as really greet our students and reinforce our expectations around behavior, right? To really make it a partnership and less of a struggle, less of a battle. We also want to think about, you know, perhaps what are some systems that we can use in our classroom that really do reinforce those positive behaviors. Do we want to use a reward system in our classroom, a positive behavior system in our classroom? Do we want to use it for a class-wide structure, right? If we don't have any issues with cell phones this week, we'll get 5-10 minutes free at the end of, you know, Friday block to kind of have some game time or some relax time or some chill time, you know, like what things work for you, what things work for your students, think historically, reflect on last year, and again, consider asking them what are some things that might work for them as rewards that they might like to see in the classroom as well for those positive behaviors. Lastly, everybody, for the first week and a smooth start, one of the other things that I like to do in the first week of school is start making contact with families right out the gate. I like to sort of start identifying students from the very beginning who maybe down the road might present some challenges, maybe may have some barriers that I'm already identifying in their ability to perhaps interact in the classroom in a positive way or in a productive way. Maybe there's some gaps that you're already identifying with a student from the very get-go, and you want to really start working with those families to partner with them, right? And so making that contact, having that positive conversation at the beginning, you know, around, you know, the student is really, you know, not talkative, right? Because that's more of a negative tone, but the student really has a lot to say, and I feel like we can really channel that into writing in a really constructive way, in class discussion in a constructive way, right? Finding ways to put positive spins on it when we're talking to families and getting them on our side at the beginning of the year with that positive contact and that positive phone call can maybe help to mitigate some of the issues that we might have later on in the year. So again, everyone, focus on procedures, focus on systems, focus on the way that you want learning to work in your classroom, and then the learning will happen, right? And we have to just keep consistency, right? Consistency is key when we talk about classroom relationships, when we talk about classroom structures, and when we talk about classroom systems, right? Because when we have that consistency of systems, it allows us to get to the hard thing, which is the learning, a little bit easier and a little bit faster. Again, everyone, I am Daniel Miller. I am the curriculum facilitator. This is our first episode of Coaching on Demand. I hope that you found it helpful or useful or insightful. Again, resources down below. Feel free to check out those links. We've got a book, we've got a video, and we've got a blog article. So a lot of different things all around first week of school. Getting to a good start for our seasoned veterans might be something just to take a look at and just kind of think about some maybe new approaches or ideas. For our new people, if you'd like to explore some of those resources together, I'm of course happy to do that with you. Just drop me a line or stop on by. All right, see you around the building, everybody. Have a great first week. Bye.